To this now, the inquiry into former Bosasa COO Angelo Agrizzi's fitness to stand trial started today. Is being heard in the High Court in Pretoria. Agrizzi is accused of fraud and corruption in connection with tender deals worth 1.8 billion rand. Now, the state claims his non-appearances are causing his fraud and corruption trial to be delayed. But meanwhile, Agrizzi's lawyers say their client's health has deteriorated following a heart attack. eNCA's Manqoba Mchunu has been in court since morning and joins us now live with more updates. Manqoba, good to be with you this afternoon, colleague. What's the very latest coming from court this morning?
Well, Tumelo, just a short while ago, in fact, the court had to adjourn, and this was for the second time that it had to adjourn, and this is due to the fact that Angelo Agrizzi had once again complained of ill health. In fact, his lawyers had raised issues as far as his health condition is concerned. The first time they had said that he was running out of oxygen, which then saw proceedings having to, stand down to allow for him to get enough oxygen. And then just a short while ago, in fact, he collapsed during the proceedings. And of course, he's not physically in court. He is attending virtually through a video link. And of course, he has been following proceedings as per the judgment of this court on the 7th of March, which ordered him to appear virtually in these proceedings. You recall, of course, Tumelo, that the state had contended that they were not going to proceed with these two applications if Angelo Agrizzi is not in court or if he does not appear before court. So a provision was made for him to attend virtually. But what we saw today was Angelo Agrizzi again collapsing and saying, of course, his lawyers saying that he will need to be attended by, emergency personnel. We understand that paramedics are going to be called in to attend to him at home where he had collapsed. So the proceedings have come to a halt as they are tending to his health. We're expecting those proceedings to resume at 2 o'clock this afternoon. But prior to that, we had arguments from the defense, who brought in one of their experts, a neurosurgeon who took the stand this morning. This is one of the doctors that had examined Angelo Agrizzi on his health conditions. Of course, you recall that his lawyers have contended that he's not physically able to attend court proceedings. In fact, the last time was here in court was in October in 2020 due to ill health. And of course, now what we're hearing from this particular doctor is that there are also neurological complaints, or there are also neurological complications as far as Agrizzi is concerned. So that means that he's unable to attend to court physically, but also unable to stand trial neurologically, because the doctor says that through his examination they found that Angelo Agrizzi suffers from organic neurological disorder, which basically affects his cognitive and executive functions. When we talk of cognitive, we're talking of concentration, we're talking of memory, and we're talking of knowledge. And when we talk of the executive function, we're talking of functions that involve, planning, that involve doing something. The example that was given in court, Tumelo, was an example of somebody crossing the street, where the doctor said when you cross the street, you have to use your executive function to actually plan and to monitor and to check the vehicles. And when you actually cross the street, you use your executive function again to take the decision, but then you tap into your cognitive when you, for example, a car comes while you're crossing the street, and you have to now use your memory and calculation to see whether you are safe, and from there you then take a decision what to do. So he says both those functions have been compromised because Angelo Agrizzi has suffered brain damage. So the prognosis, though, is that he's not going to be able to attend or to understand any of the information that will be relayed in court. He also suffers from what we understand mental fatigue, which means that he can't understand some of the questions that he's asked. You'll have to repeat those questions a number of times. So the doctor saying that according to his findings, he's found that Angelo Agrizzi will not be able to be fit to stand trial neurologically. But take a listen to what he had to say in court.
The brain function, which is what I was qualified and requested to examine, is the first item on the outcome diagnosis on page 350. That is a post-hypoxic organic neuropsychological disorder. If I can just explain what that means. organic neuropsychological disorder means a brain problem, and the cause of the brain problem is an organic physical cause as opposed to a psychological cause such as depression or stress, which can also affect brain function. And the organic cause in this case was the hypoxic ischemic brain injury, so the lack of oxygen and blood flow through his brain. And that permanent organic neuropsychological disorder affects various domains of cerebral mental function, and they include cognitive function, executive function, and neurobehavioral functions. I found deficits or impairments in all three of those domains of function. Then also chronic headaches. He has a combined neurological and psychological mood disorder. So, for example, I found evidence of depression and anxiety. That is outside my field, and I defer to psychologists in that regard. And then it was apparent that his pre-existing chronic medical problems, of which there were many, were aggravated by these events, and I concluded he was neurologically unfit to stand trial as a result of his impaired brain function.
And that's where we leave it. Thank you so much to our reporter, Manqoba Mchunu, giving us the very latest on that case regarding Angelo Agrizzi, Bosasa's former COO.